Hey, are you someone looking for a mentor, someone to help guide you along and support you in your career? Or are you someone far along in your career and you're looking to mentor somebody and help guide them through their career and give them the same support that perhaps you had? Then this is the episode for you. What is happening, Roadies? Thank you for swinging by, checking out this short clip. My guest is none other than two-time Grammy-winning engineer, producer, mixer, you name it. Ann Mincieli is on the show with us this week here at Roadiefreeradio. And in this short clip, we talked to Ann about her support of other people, the folks that work for her, the folks that are coming up underneath her at her studio, Jungle City Studios in New York City. And of course, some of the folks that have helped her out along the way as she got going. So it's a killer episode. You got to check the whole thing out. Ann Mincieli, of course, super tight collaboration powerhouse with Miss Alicia Keys. These two knock it out of the park every time. We had an amazing interview. I hope you can check the full thing out. If you want to, there's a link in the description below, or you can find the interview wherever you get your podcast by just looking up Roadie-Free-Radio. Of course, a show that takes you behind the scenes of the music and film industry. I thank you so much for tuning in and for being here for the ride. It has been 6 years, man, and it's been incredible. I can't believe it. Things are nuts. So check out all the good stuff down in the description box. And again, of course, check out this entire interview if you've got time. With all that out of the way, here we go with Miss Ann Mincieli.
Call yourself a roadie?
Give me a few minutes on your team and your staff. I mean, I read about some of these guys on your website and whatnot, and equally as amazingly accomplished some of these folks are.
Yeah, all homegrown.
Yeah. Tell me about them.
One of the guys, Stu White, Brendan Morawski, he's part of my engineer team. He started at Jungle maybe 11 years ago. He's been a part of it, and that's what I try and do. I have a lot of employees that have been with me since 2010 and onwards, and they get the ability to work for Jungle in a commercial studio, and then the hybrid of working with me and Alicia, you know. Even my guy, Ramon Rivas, he was an assistant with us at Jungle, and then he wanted to do film and video. So Alicia hired him. We started a little, we'd start documenting all of her sessions, and he would do her photos. He's now a big photographer 10 years later, and we have an incredible video, and he's the guy that came with us all through COVID and filmed video and photo for us. So Brendan Morawski won a Grammy, been nominated several times. Zeke as well. And then Stu White was my assistant for like 10 years. He's won 3 Grammys, I think, but is Beyonce's engineer and mixer and travels the world with her. So, you know, every guy that has left the studio has gone on to, you know, work with artists in the same way that I work with Alicia. And that's the goal, is to have the artist remember you or say, you know, this staff was so good, I want to hire them. And that's the goal. They're a reflection of me. And I treat my studio like a 7-star hotel. And, you know, training is tough, and you get a lot of depth of knowledge in the studio. These guys have to do everything from running an old EMI to, you know, setting up for Apple Music streaming to engineering, you know, your standard band, working with Depeche Mode, working with, you know, it's not just like one type of session. So the depth of their knowledge and what they can learn. And it's very traditional. The studio is run like a traditional studio, and a lot of artists like that. They like that there's an assistant engineer, and they like that some of the new studios don't have those type of amenities, or they don't have that type of staffing. And I think that's super important, you know. And yeah, my staff is everything. My studio manager, Phil, the way he can go and just, you know, book, and all the clients love him, and how he connects with all the artists and fulfills all the needs, from taking laundry to get clean to booking a hotel room last second, or ordering food, or the requests are, we're like treated as like we're a staff to a hotel in a way, you know. That's how we set it up. And we're in the heart of Hudson Yards, and it's a very trendy place, and it's pretty exciting. I want to keep up with that theme, you know. So
yeah, It's a gorgeous looking spot. You know, I went through the website. It's pretty amazing. And it's, I wanted you to have an opportunity to give your staff and team some love.
Yeah, no, everyone there, like, and we're all a team, right? I come in and I still clean the bathrooms, and these guys are willing to do whatever it takes to support myself, the artists, and the future of the studio. They want to be part of it. They want to bring their own sessions back. And that's the goal, is most of all, you know?
Mm-hmm. You talked about the training that a lot of them go through, the way they have to switch gears. It was a lot of technical stuff that you were referencing. I'm curious also about the balance, or how you, right? It's one thing to be proficient in gear. It's another thing to be proficient in people.
Correct.
Right? Because part of it as a producer, making a film or record, right, is like, how do you balance those personalities?
You have to pair them, right? The personalities,
Yeah. So my question is kind of twofold. Because my question is twofold, because the first one is like, how do you show them how to deal with that? But then also for you, I mean, we got Jay-Z, we got Alicia, right? We got Mariah Carey, we got some big fucking names, big personalities. We're not calling anybody out with ego, but like there's ego involved because there's some serious pressure to perform.
Exactly.
So I'm curious how you show them how to do that, and B, how you figured out how to manage those personalities. And like I said, even way back with Alicia, right? How do you get to the point where you're like, yo, you know what? I think we got it. We got to move on.
I think that happens in time, right? My relationship built with Alicia over the course of 22 years now. For my guys at the studio, it's the start of learning. You don't just hop in the room. You're training as an intern, then you're moving up as a general assistant, and then you're moving up as an assistant engineer, and you're moving up to engineer, house engineer. So there's really 4 positions, and at each one you're learning the little things, how to answer the phone correctly, you know, how to speak properly to managers and clients. The studio's the hub. You meet everyone at the studio, right? You meet the labels, the managers, the writers, the producers, the artists. So you're interacting with a lot of individuals.
The spouses.
Exactly. You know, exactly.
The family, right? You're meeting the family. You know?
Yeah. And there's, you know, even as an intern at an early age, how to, you know, like interact with clients. And you know, you're not walking in the lounges. You're not in, you know, you're giving them the privacy that they need. You're calling the assistant, letting them know you're not walking into each floor. In my studio, it's private. Each studio has its own space and door and entry point. And behind that is a lounge and a bathroom, and always, you know, asking before you go in, you know, never walking in a control room, never walking in a live room. And each assistant has different aspirations. They all have different strengths and different things that they need to work on. And we kind of know who it is. And sometimes we have a long session coming in. The guy will say, I need 2 assistants, but I want to meet all your assistants. I want to understand who they are, and I'll pick. And that's a great way. Or some people request. They'll come in and they'll say, oh, we heard, you know, Brendan Morawski's a great assistant. Can we request him? Yes. Another guy, Mickey, he worked a lot of the Japanese sessions because he spoke 2 languages. They would love to request him. So it's a matter of us understanding our staff and us training our staff. And there's lots of growing pains. Things like when I'm in the control room recording and my assistant, and this happens, he's walking by me and he's bumping my arm because my gear is here, and there's 10 people in the control room to visit Alicia, and they're drinking and drinks are spilling, and he's bumping my arm because he's trying to serve them, but it's just too much happening, and I'm trying to focus on her and she's recording. I have to tell him, like, you know, or he wore shoes that made like, it sounds crazy. He had these shoes that would make squeaks every time he walked. And I would be like, look, these artists are so temperamental. Like, it sounds crazy, but it's little things like that. Never walk in a control room. When you see, I learned this the hard way, even as an assistant, an artist is listening back in the control room. you never walk in the control room. Just recently during the pandemic, I was at a studio and they had like a staff, like they had a freelance staff. Alicia, and it reminds me of this, she was on like talking to Serbin, who was mixing. We were doing a lot of remote mixing, and we told this assistant, like, don't interrupt her. Don't keep asking her if everything's okay. We'd go up to her and be like, everything okay? You need anything? And like don't get in the artist's face. Like, ask us. You know, ask us. Ask me, ask Brennan. In the middle of her listening and giving notes, he went up to her. Is everything okay? Everything going good? Like, he walked in the control room. He broke that level of, like, concentration and vibe. And, like, we're like, yo, you did it again. We told you, like, 3 times already. Like, you know, it's just little things that are hard to teach. Some people are so technical, and then their personality. And sometimes it's the most silliest thing that they don't, you know, so we try to set everyone up for success. We try to understand the artist who's coming in. What do they like? What kind of flowers they like? What's off limits? This artist doesn't like anyone in the control room. This artist wants the assistant. We try to get all that information to set everyone up for a good experience, including the artist. And that's where my management comes in, Phil and Kez, and they come in and they understand, and they know the artist because Phil and Kez have been in the studio with me for a very long time. They know like the artists and what the needs are, you know, and that's important for them to relay that to the staff because staff changes, right? Like, an artist could have been in 6 months ago, and they might not have been around for 6 months, and they come in again. We have to remind them, you know. Yeah. So
it must make you very proud as the mama bear of your studio to watch these guys grow and go on. But it also sounds like a lot of them don't go on. They sound like they're staying with you for the most part. But,
and they
but
grow,
it must
and
make
they
you
find,
very proud.
It is, and they find the proper time for them to cross. That's key. You know, you could stay with us and still work on great sessions, plus engineer when you can. So you have this money coming in. I'm all about revenue streams. If you can do 2 or 3 things at once, that's my goal. That's my mentality. That's what I do. I study every aspect of this industry. I love this industry. And I work doing various different things. And I want them to have that mentality, and they do. And that's the great thing about it. And I want them to jump at the proper time when they know the next 2 years they're not going to have to struggle for when, you know, we didn't get work for 3 months straight. You know, they could come back to us and say, look, I can work if you need me. And we take them, and they can come back, and it's important to go out and venture and see what's out in the world, you know, so.
Sure. All right, there you have it. There it is. There it was. Ann Mincieli from Jungle City Studios in New York. And of course, 2-time Grammy winner herself in her own right. So check out the full episode. Thanks for sticking around. Stay tuned next week. A lot of good stuff coming up. And don't forget, this is the last week for the Hell on Wheels series. Comes out every Friday. You're not going to want to miss that one either. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. And I'll see you down the road.